All right, Leo, thanks for tuning in to your October of 2014 horoscope. My name is Athen, and welcome to October. So this month is the eclipses. Most of you heard me talk about the eclipses since back in April, and that's exactly what this is. It's a culmination of whatever we started or whatever changed in our lives in April, because each of the eclipses kind of have this succession, one after the other, and if you look at them, you can kind of see the story as it unfolds. But in either way, they're connected. So think back to April, okay? That was a very transformative time for a lot of us. A lot of shifting, a lot of very volcanic kind of energy with the T-squares and all that stuff. But think back to it and see what changed. And whatever it is, it's coming to a culmination early in October when we have the lunar eclipse on the 8th. And it's happening in your 8th house, okay? So the eclipses are already very transformative. And this is especially when it happens in the 8th house, because that's the house of transformation. So it's deep, it's maybe personal, and it could just be on the inside, especially if you're watching this for your lunar report. But in either case, it's on the inside, very deep. And the ruler of your 8th, Jupiter, is in Pisces, in your 12th house, in Cancer. So there's a lot of, spiritual transformation happening to you already. And you guys are, hopefully, I think, feeling pretty optimistic about that with, Pisces ruling your 8th house. But in either case, just going with the flow. And I'm going to do this one again. All right, Leos, thanks for tuning in to your October of 2014 horoscope. My name is Athen, and welcome to October. So this is the eclipse season, the eclipse month here that I've been talking about since April. And whatever changes happened in April, really think back, because that's when we had the last set of eclipses. And these eclipses, they kind of tell a story, one after the other. They kind of unfold like that, and they're connected. So what changed in your life back in April? And that was a very transformative month for a lot of us. Lots of volcanic eruption, very tense kind of energy, lots of, almost like getting shot into a direction. And whatever that direction is, it's pointed towards this month. And whatever that was, whatever those changes were, it's coming to a culmination this month in October, especially around the 8th when we have the lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse has the energy of the full moon. Okay, so it's a culmination of what started back in April. Now, it's happening in your 8th house. So eclipses are already very transformative, and especially when it happens in the 8th house. It's the house of transformation. So whatever it is, it's changing you molecularly on the inside. The 8th house, very watery energy, and that's where the transformation, that's where the alchemical process really takes place, is on the inside. And it may not even feel like it's anything external. It's very, especially because Pisces, the ruler of Pisces is in your 12th, Jupiter, okay? So there's a lot of expansion in your guys' spiritual sphere right now. Lots of, spiritual opportunities, spiritual learning. A lot of you guys are studying, or just really expanding your spiritual horizons in whichever way that, whatever that means for all of you individually. But, it's in the 12th, so it could be even dream space. It's very good, during this eclipse, do some, if you aren't already, really pay attention to your dreams. A lot of messages there. Jupiter being the planet of messages, there can be a lot there. What else? Automatic writing, that kind of stuff. Anything that involves what you might call your psyche, but it's just the unconscious or subconscious aspects of yourself. So whatever that is, that'll kind of give an indication of that. Look to April, kind of pay attention to those dreams, and you'll see. But it may be very external as well. It just depends on you each individually. So if it is something external, it seems like it would probably have a lot to do with your spiritual power, because the 8th house, that's what it's really about. And you've had Uranus transiting your 8th, so there's been a lot of changes to that. A lot of changes. You guys are going through a sort of like a metamorphosis period of constantly changing, and like old aspects of yourself dying away, new aspects of yourself being reborn. A lot of this transformation process, because that's what Uranus is. Uranus is real quick and constant. All of a sudden there's a new change. So roll with those punches. But this is a very positive month here. We've got a grand trine and some other things I'll talk about. Lots of beautiful aspects. So it's not like April, where it was very volcanic with the squares and, tense or whatever. It's very harmonious. And so whatever these changes are, it's going to really, shift your path. It's going to shift your direction, because it is happening in Pisces, and that's the spiritual sort of flow of the universe, And yeah, so whatever it is, it probably has to do with your spiritual power too. So really stepping into that power, reclaiming your spiritual power, and then from that, I think there'll be a great transformation for you guys coming out of this. You guys could be very, a new you emerging this month early on. And it's your higher self, because Uranus is there as well. All right, so now interestingly, the solar eclipse is then happening in your third house, okay? And that's where the new beginning is happening for you. So the culmination's in the 8th, and then the new beginning's in the 3rd. Now, wherever there's an ending, there's a beginning, right? So the ending happens early in the month, then the new beginning, you'll start to feel it unfold as we get closer to the 23rd, around the solar eclipse, which is in your third house. So what's interesting, though, is that Mercury is going retrograde in that third house on the 4th, okay? And he's going to be retrograding, and then he's not going to go direct until the 25th. So there's reflection here on the third house, and this is kind of how I see the month unfolding. It's almost like a new insight, something might come to you early on in the month, first few days, and it could trigger some, thinking and considering perhaps how you're thinking, because that's what the third house is. It could also do with your exchanges, your interchanges. The third house is the marketplace. It could also do with siblings. It's also a third house related thing. But anything that is basically your connection to everything and everyone else. Okay, that's why it's associated with sales and communication and teaching and learning. Maybe some of you will be learning or starting a new project, and maybe some of you might start teaching or something like that. So whatever it is, but it's a reflection. Okay, so it might be something that's already existing, it might be something new, but in either case, you're going to be thinking about it, particularly thinking about your exchanges, okay, and how you think about things. And so that's starting off the month, and so whatever that is, I think it's going to sort of, lead you into then the new beginning on the 23rd, when we have the solar eclipse in your third house. So it could just be a complete radical change to the way you express yourself, the way you see the world, your insight, and the third house is ultimately about playfulness and joy. I mean, it's ruled by Gemini, and this is the house of what do you call it? Just a zest for life. Okay, just an overall buoyancy and lightheartedness for life. So that's what I see happening. I see almost like some old parts of you guys really dying away, really have been changing, have been going away, and something new, and whatever it is, it's fresh. It's a breath of fresh air early in the month, and then later in the month, it's almost like a brand new you with a brand new set of communication skills, a brand new set of, almost like a brand new perspective of the mind, a fresh new perspective coming from that, okay? And then from that, being jovial and everything else that the third house represents, being light, and then seeing the freedom that involves, because freedom is playing a big role in this for everyone, with Uranus in that 8th house as well. So that's what I see, very freeing month, transforming you guys to very jovial. And then the new beginnings could be anything third house related, right? It could be any of that teaching, learning, sharing information, getting out into the marketplace, getting busier. Third house is almost like coming out of the rural areas and into the city. It's how that energy is. A lot of you might start maybe a sales type of job, or get more involved in the marketplace in some way. Start something new that's learning, teaching, something like that. It's all going to affect all of you individually differently. But yeah, it's a very exciting month, and like I said, it's very positive. And there's for instance, there's a grand trine taking place, which let me go ahead and talk about. It's involving Jupiter, the South Node, and the eclipse, okay, and Mars. And there's a lot of trines and sextiles pointing towards Mars. So Mars seems to be playing an important role this month. And for the first half of the month, he's transiting your 4th, okay? So back in September, late September, and then now in this month, there's a lot of energy that's being put into the home, the family, something 4th house related. And you guys watching this later on in September will probably know what this is. So you'll continue to be putting that energy there, or perhaps just, really embracing your emotional self. It's really Mars, because Mars is in Scorpio in the 4th house. For you, just embracing that emotional self and really acting on your feelings and seeing the importance of that. But in either case, then shifting into your 5th. Okay, so I see perhaps, there's definitely a lot of support. So for those of you changing stuff or doing things in that 4th house area, certainly positive changes there, and the eclipse could definitely see some changes in that sector for you. And also into the 5th house, when Mars goes into the 5th for the second half of the month. And on that point, it's really about putting action into what gives you joy. And that's another reason why I see is like this jovial side of yourself coming out. Because when Mars goes into the 5th, it's like you're ready to express yourself, you're ready to do your heart's desire, you're ready to go after your joy, etc. Or be very creative, all this 5th house stuff. Because the 5th house is really also a zest for life, but that's a zest. It's not so much a zest, it's more of a passion and really tapping into your passion. But for you, essentially, they'll be like the same thing this month because both houses are prominent for you. All right, and it's all supported by all these spiritual changes and all this spiritual transformation that's taking place for you guys. And that's why it really seems like that cocoon effect coming out, almost coming out into the sun. Second half of the month. And interestingly also is Venus and the Sun go into your 3rd house right around the same time Mars goes into your 5th in the mid-month area. So yeah, they're totally connected. That zest for life will certainly then illuminate your 3rd house, which is really being aware of the interchanges, the interplays, the movement of the universe, exchanges in your life. And people too, because Venus going into the 3rd is connecting in that way, sharing ideas, receiving information, very social in that 3rd house area. And that's, like I said, the second half of the month, which then spawns, I think, a new beginning, a new front for you guys in that 3rd house area. All right, so that's what I see for you guys. Now, I'm going to draw an oracle card to see what Spirit wants me to spend a little bit more attention on for you guys. Okay, Jupiter. All right, I talked a lot about Jupiter, but let's talk about it some more. Now, Jupiter is the planet of our path, okay, and of higher insight, higher divine wisdom. And so I think what this card is really showing me is that what's really supporting you is this divine wisdom, this divine guidance. So really open up to that this month, I think, is really emphasized by this. And open your horizon spiritually too. Keep expanding spiritually. The more you do that, the more it's going to support these positive changes for you guys and create more opportunities in that area. All right, so some examples, I don't know. Everyone achieves their spirituality differently. Some people do it in nature. Some people just do it by sleeping a lot. Some people do it, meditating. Some people do it through yoga, whatever it is. And but keep really expanding your mind, expanding your horizons in that sense, whatever. And that's going to really support you guys in these changes this month. All right, Leo, that concludes your October horoscope. If you have any specific questions, please get in touch and be sure to subscribe for my daily, weekly, and monthly horoscopes. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.